Okay, it is 5:30. I'm going to call the special meeting of the Board of Trustees for May the 26th, 2015 to order. First up tonight, we have a presentation involving the driving agent.
Ms. Reinhardt, we're running kind of late. I think maybe the weather's kept some of the kids out. Can we push that forward and maybe move the Driving Angels donation acceptance up? If that, with your permission, we could do that.
Whichever way you want to do
Just
it.
ask board's permission to accept a $5,000 donation from the Walk of Angels. That's the annual 5K remembrance for Miranda Phelps and Lauren Dietz and Jessica Phillips. In a minute, I'll have Mr. Phelps step forward and present the check, but give you a little background. This is, with this donation, they'll have given us $17,500 for the walk, or the Driving Angels program, all raised from the walk that they have every year. And this walk is July 26th at Spring Grove Cemetery. Is it 9 a.m. or 8 a.m., Skip? 8 a.m. at Spring Grove Cemetery for this year's walk. So with your permission, I'll accept the donation and then ask Mr. Phelps to step forward.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
We've had Mr. Phelps here in the previous years to present the Walk of Angels check, and it's always an honor to have him and his family here with us. Sadly, this Friday marks the 8th anniversary of his daughter Miranda's passing. She died alongside Lauren Dietz on May 29th, 2007 on Buell Road. The good part of this is that tragedy sparked the Driving Angels program, which has undoubtedly saved many, many lives throughout the township and throughout our community. So I continue to be awed by his generosity and his willingness to step forward and make something good out of this terrible situation. He's now part of our Driving Angels team on our Saturday classes. He speaks to the kids and shares his story of the loss and how it affected his family. Skip, you want to step forward?
On behalf of the entire Walk of Angels Committee and all the participants, we'd like to present a check of $5,000 to the Driving Angels program.
Turn that way, so Jen can hear you.
Ms. Reinhardt, the legal notice announced that the public hearing would begin at 6. Since we start at 5:30, I would suggest we proceed with the remaining action items, and we'll come back to the public hearing at 6 o'clock.
That's fine. So we're on
So
to...
Mr. Denny is still up with another donation.
Respectfully request approval to accept a $40 donation from Quang Ja Park of Menominee Drive. Ms. Park gives us donation once a year for her vacation checks, and she's appreciative of what we do, and she always sends a check to us, so I'm just going to ask your permission to accept that.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good evening. I have two action items on behalf of the fire department for the board to consider this evening. First one is a recommendation for a change of status for firefighter EMT John Bloomfield. I'd like to change of status from basic firefighter to firefighter 2B, classification effective May 27, 2015.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Thank you. Secondly, recommendation to hire 5 part-time firefighter emergency medical technician paramedics to fill vacant firefighter 2B positions effective June 6, 2015. The hourly rate for these employees with a 1-year probation and contingent upon successful completion of all applicable testing and procedures. The following employees are Joseph Kramerding, Benjamin Geiger, Dustin Geiger, Emma Harper, and Matthew Korst.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Reinhardt, members of the board, I'll start with the administration items. I've got 2 recommendations this evening for hiring, but before I make those recommendations, I'd like to give you a little bit of a summary as to what has prompted the vacancies. As you know, Mr. Jeff Mills rendered his resignation to accept a position with the City of Covington, so that prompted us to post a position of Director of Building Planning and Zoning. So through that process, we had a number of great applicants apply. 2 in particular stood out, and during the process, we also received the resignation for retirement purposes notice from Becky Reno, who has served this township for what, Frank, 20 years, 23 years? So immediately we lost the majority of our zoning department within the next 6 weeks. So because we were fortunate to have 2 great applicants, the leadership team met and talked about restructuring the zoning department so that we could bring in both candidates, both as a director and then one as a deputy director, and take the existing planner and reassign her to the front desk. That would allow her to continue to work in her planning area, but also be the administrative support for the department. That took a reassignment of a part-time receptionist to a different area of the township through another vacancy so that we could make this proposition budget neutral. It was important that we wanted to restructure, but also keep it budget neutral. The receptionist chose to also retire, and she's leaving this Friday. So she chose not to accept the other vacant position we had. So tonight we have two excellent young ladies here that I'd like to introduce to you. One to fill the position of Director of Building, Planning, and Zoning, and one to fill the position of Deputy Director of Building, Planning, and Zoning. And really, one of the reasons we wanted to restructure the department was it gave us an opportunity to build succession planning right out of the gate, so that if we were ever faced with a situation in the future where the director moved on, we would have succession planning with the deputy director ready to step in, and then obviously these two individuals will have the opportunity to work with the other senior planner in the office to coach her and potentially position her to a future position as maybe deputy director should a vacancy occur. We've also restructured these two positions so that their focus will be a little different. Emmy, who will be stepping in as the director, will be dealing more on the zoning side, and Jenna will be dealing more with the BZA side. So our hopes with the reorganization is going to allow us to really hit the boots on the ground and focus a lot more on the code enforcement issues we're having in the community with the tall grass, property maintenance, and the sign issues, and to have two individuals of this caliber serving this township is going to continue to drive our vision of delivering excellence to a best-in-class community. So I'd like to introduce these two candidates. The first we have Emmy Randall. She's an AICP and a RLA. I'll let her explain what those acronyms mean when she gets to the podium. She comes to us with a BS in Landscape Architecture from the UK and a Master of Community Planning from the University of Cincinnati. And then our Deputy Director, Jen LeCount, who's also a Colerain Township resident, has a Bachelor of Urban Planning and a Master's of Business Administration. She currently works at the Planning and Development Services of Kenton County, Kentucky, and Emmy works for the OKI Regional Council of Governments. And she's been there since 2009, and Jen has been there since 2006, and as a principal planner since 2010. So at this point, I'd like to invite Emmy Randall to the podium to say a few words, and then we'll ask Jenna to come forward as well.
Thank you, Jim, and it's a pleasure to be here. Should I move this?
Now,
A little bit. Is that better? It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I've been really impressed by your staff leadership over this process, and I look forward to working with them and look forward to getting to know each of you all and to working with you. It's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm very honored to have this opportunity to come and work in Colerain Township. And I've heard wonderful things about the township and the growth that you're seeing and the development potential over the coming years. So I look forward to being a part of that.
I'll offer a motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt? Aye. Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Good evening. I'm Jenna LeCount. Thank you, Jim, for the introduction. I'm also very excited to be here and actually be coming home to do what I love to do. So very excited to be a part of this community and really get to know everyone here and learn about all the great things that I've already heard. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Motion to approve Jenna's hiring. Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt? Aye. Mr. Ritter?
Aye. And best of luck to both of you. I know you're going to be extraordinarily successful. Welcome.
Thank you.
For the record,
Yes.
I don't think you did state their annual salary.
I will do that. Absolutely.
I have that in here.
So the recommendation for Emmy Randall as Director of Building, Planning, and Zoning at an annual salary of $75,000. We're still working on the effective date on when she'll be starting. We'll work that through HR. And then as Jenna LeCount for Deputy Director of Building, Planning, and Zoning, she'll be given an annual salary of $65,000. However, with Ms. LeCount, she will be eligible for a $2,500 raise at the conclusion of her one-year probationary period. So thank you, board. Thank you for being here this evening, and we're looking forward to having you join our team. So the next item I have is approval of a supplemental appropriation for the Kroger TIF fund in the amount of $339 as a result of our closing on the TIF fund or the TIF bond issue last week.
Motion approved. Second.
Mr. Peters? Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Resolution for.
My next item is approval of policy revisions per the attachment that's in your packet. There have been some changes since the first reading to vacation leave so that we could provide language recognizing service in Indiana and Kentucky, and also change in language to a per diem structure in accordance with the MI&E rate in our travel expense section. I'd like to recommend those approval effective this evening, May 26th, 2015.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
The next item is to authorize the administrator to execute documents for our insurance program renewal. These will go into effect August 1st, 2015. The first is to recommend our health insurance provider with United Healthcare. Our renewal with Humana came in at 35% increase. United Healthcare came in at 28.74. I'd like to talk just briefly so we can put that in perspective. As you know, the township employees have been committed to wellness for the past almost 18 to 20 months and have done a great job in achieving all the wellness standards that we've had for them. Unfortunately, as with any health insurance program, there are times you have high dollar claimants. And unfortunately, we have been hit with some high dollar claimants that have driven our experience beyond acceptable levels. We had hoped to transition to a self-insured model August 1st, but as you probably know, going to self-insured when you have high dollar claimants is probably not in the best interest for the township. We did look and received a quote to go self-insured, and the premiums were even higher than the 35%. So this is the best we can do given our circumstances at this point in time, and we're going to continue to work with our health insurance broker and our employees to try to drive down our costs where we can. Dental insurance, we actually had requested for an additional one-year rate guarantee with dental. They would not provide that, so we went to market. They came back with a 4.4% decrease, keeping the same company for a 2-year rate guarantee. Standard Life, there's no change for our life insurance. We're still on a rate guarantee there. We will be looking at critical illness coverage with Guardian. That's no cost to the township. That's all volunteer based on participation. Accident insurance with Allstate. We're looking to utilize a company called Boast for enrollment services to help us manage all the enrollment. That's at a cost not to exceed $5,000. And then also a Wellness and Cobra program to not exceed $15,000. So I'd recommend that you authorize me to administer and execute the documents associated with this August 1st renewal.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
The last item I have is to recommend approval to authorize the administrator to execute a revised contract with the YMCA, increasing the monthly cost by $1,120 effective June 1, 2015. The YMCA will be assuming responsibilities associated with the Council on Aging program as a result of a recent vacancy at the senior center. If you remember earlier when I was talking about hiring the zoning applicants and shifting the receptionist up to the senior center due to a vacancy, she declined that. So it freed up a vacancy to run the Council on Aging program. Rather than replace that position, we would rather just contract with the Y as part of their contract, and they'll assume those responsibilities. It's budget neutral. We're just shifting those dollars to a different source.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
So at this time, Dan, are we ready to do the presentation on Driving Angels?
Thank you. Each year we have an opportunity to thank and honor our 4-year Driving Angels graduates. Those are young people who have dedicated their entire high school experience to increasing driver safety and being part of our Driving Angels program. So we're always honored to have them here. This is our third group of actual graduates who have done all 4 years in our Driving Angels program. Also joining us tonight is State Farm Insurance Agent Mark Redmond. Mark is new to the township. He is at Banning and Colerain Avenue. Soon after coming to the township, he approached us and said, is there something I can do to help improve driving safety in Colerain Township, not knowing that we already had the program in place. he's become a great friend to the Driving Angels program and to the police department. So I'd like to ask Traffic Safety Officer Patrick Quinn and Mark Redmond to step forward and present plaques to our four-year graduates.
This high school students from Northwest High School have been with us for 4 years, helping us out with this program. They sacrificed many Saturday mornings, getting up about, I don't know what time they get up, but being at class by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, talking in front of their peers, teaching them about traffic safety. They've done this the last 4 years at 6 classes each year. So 24 classes they've attended and helped out. They've also helped out inside their school, promoting during prom week and homecoming week, creating posters, having presentations within the school in front of their whole school, talking about traffic safety and promoting traffic safety, whether it's seatbelt usage or not speeding. Without this group, you probably wouldn't be here today. They've done a wonderful job. They've been great to work with. And I'm very honored to have the privilege to work with them for the last 4 years that I've been involved with the program myself. Thank you. Sitting here.
Thank you.
Nikki. Samantha. Carla. And Bailey. We have a couple other awards that some seniors couldn't make it tonight, so we have those also. Tonight we also have juniors with us. Our goal tonight is to take and hand over the kind of the key, you could say, to the juniors and have them take over this program for next year and the next years to come, and hopefully help out the underclassmen that are coming through the program, and so we can keep this program continuing on. Mark, would you like to say anything?
No, we're just proud of you guys. Good luck to your next venture. And making sure people stay safe is really what we're about. And team up here in Colerain Township, we just want to make sure we're saving lives. And you guys can be those voice pieces as you go on through college as well.
Also noticed before we began that Mr. Tom Luby from LaSalle High School stepped in. They're stepping forward and becoming part of our program. We're really glad to have them. So thank you, Mr. Luby.
Thank you. At this point in time, I'd like to recommend we go into executive session for the discussion of employment and compensation and discipline of public employees
I'd like a motion for executive session.
and pending litigation.
I'll second, and point of order for those that are here for the public hearing, we'll be out at 6.
We'll be out at 6 o'clock.
Second.
All right. Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt? Aye. Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Is there anything to report at this time?
No, ma'am.
We will move on to the public hearings then. We will start with the Springdale one, just so that everyone can see that.
To open the public hearing. Second.
Thank you.
Just a second. Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt? Aye. Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
No problem. Good evening. The item tonight, there are 7 parcels located on the north side of Springdale Road and east of Flat Top Drive that are currently zoned R4 Suburban Medium Residential District. This zone map amendment would change the R4 zoning classification for 6 of the 7 parcels to a B2 General Business District for the purpose of redeveloping properties for commercial use. The area affected by the zone change is located in the Colerain Avenue character area. The comprehensive plan supports the proposed change as it envisions this area home for quality commercial uses. The plan also supports the idea to develop a town center for the community west of Colerain Avenue and north of Springdale Road. The comprehensive plan goes on to say that the town center would serve as both a showpiece for the township and a central focal point that many residents feel the township currently lacks. Staff feels this zone map amendment would further emulate the ideas referenced in the comp plan for the Colerain Avenue character area. The parcels included in the proposed map amendment terminate at the corner of Flat Top Road in Springdale. These homes sit directly across the Northgate Mall parking lot. The intent is to allow commercial use development to continue on both sides of Springdale Road until the intersection of Flat Top Road. This would also bring continuity to the section of Springdale Road where housing is not negatively impacted by a harsh commercial edge across the street. With that in mind, staff recommends approval of the proposed map amendment on Springdale Road. And if you can look at this is the first home on this map is the Vilas home. The second, the applicant did not acquire the Winters property, so that's excluded from the zone change. They'll have to provide the proper setbacks, as that is going to remain in the R4 residential, and then the remaining parcels will be commercial.
Frank, I didn't get your descriptor on which homes you're saying. So just the one is not included? Or
Just the one with the red hash marks out of it.
So that's as proposed.
It's the one next door.
Okay, I'm sorry. The one next to the right, and I'll go up and point it out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's this home right here, which is Winters, the 3880 Springdale Road is the one that's out of the zone change map. So it's this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. And this parcel as well, but there's no home currently on it. What's that? That's everything. The applicant is Vanderkar, and they're available if the board has any questions of them as well.
First sign in was Esther.
Mark, is the applicant going to make a presentation?
I was going to ask them some questions, so I'm sure they'll be able to talk.
I think we have to have a rebuttal.
That's up to her.
Well, Esther needed to leave, that's why I called her first.
My husband's in the hospital. I think this is so wrong to have another strip mall in this area. With Kroger's, the traffic is going to be horrendous enough. These few houses, the whole neighborhood is going to be impacted by this. I had talked to Jeff Mills the day after the zoning meeting approved it. He gave me the indication that this was just going to be a work session and not the public hearing on it. So I have letters made up, and I was going to go door to door to all the people in this area, and I have them send a letter, have them signed a letter for you all to vote no on this zone change. It is not necessary. We have enough strip malls around this area. There are many stores vacant in Northgate Mall. This is totally unnecessary for this area and residential area at this time. Please vote no on this. This is not necessary for this area.
Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. I hope your husband feels better, Esther. Bernie, did you want to go next? You're the only other person signed in.
I'll go, but the applicant can speak. I'm going to be able to rebut. That's fair, right?
It's not a debate, it's a public hearing.
Excuse me?
It's not a debate. It's a public hearing.
Correct, but let's follow some kind of procedure.
You're up.
Which most of you don't, well, none of you know, that that's not a derogatory comment, but that subdivision across Springdale there from the mall was always golden. It was never supposed to have a Kroger or what you're presenting now. Never was. It was always golden because it's a good subdivision. There's nothing blighted over in the area. Just wasn't. I mean, that's just how it always was. The land use plan And the comprehensive plan says the same thing. Now, Mr. Birkenhauer made a comment, it follows the comprehensive plan. It does not even close to it. And if you all remember, there's not supposed to be anything going east or west of Colerain Avenue, other than what was there. Now we're going west, aren't we? Which is against your comp plan. The part that's interesting to me is, I'm gonna, if it's okay, I'd like to talk about the Kroger store a little bit. You're putting a 724 operation in people's backyards. That is not land use planning. That's just, I won't say what I think it is, but there's something wrong with that picture. And this other part that you're wanting to do, or if you're wanting to do it, I guess the applicant wants to do it, it's about money. But I don't know if the lots are even big enough to do that, because I believe it's asking for B2 zoning, if that's correct. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
You know, there's supposed to be a 40-foot buffer, between the residential properties. So the depth of the property, there's got to be a 40-foot to stay away from the back of the residential properties over, I believe it's Susanna. But then, do you really want to do that? You had a couple people here that you hired, zoning and land use and stuff. Where's the transition zone? In other words, you got residential. Now you're wanting to put commercial, but where's the transition zone? Anybody that knows anything about land use planning, there's a transition zone. And we all pretty much are familiar with over, let's say by Sam's over on 74. They wanted to put residential next to Sam's. And that didn't happen, meaning single family. They put condos there. Sam's, condos, single family. That's how you that's land use planning. If we're going to continue to do what we're doing, in other words, the comprehensive plan is right here. In our zoning, if we're going to continue to ignore that and just throw caution to the wind, then why would anybody ever want to invest in Colerain Township? Because, hell, you don't know what's going to happen next. If the township decides, or some developer thinks he can make a buck, come in here and do this, or I don't know if you all are receiving monetary benefit from all this, or other people. Excuse me? What isn't appropriate?
To accuse us of getting money.
I didn't say that. I didn't.
If you all are getting money.
I said if you are. That's a question.
Okay, that's inappropriate.
Well, there's something that's
You're gonna make.
that's.
Stop talking, because that's inappropriate.
This is not adversarial. You're making it adversarial.
No, you are making it adversarial.
Not at all.
I'm sorry, you just accused
Not
us
at all.
of taking kickbacks.
Not at
from
all.
people. That is not.
Not at all. I'm going to have my say.
You can have your say.
I'm going to have my say.
Accuse us of things.
I'm going to have
Go
my
ahead.
say. Thank you very much. There's something that's really wrong then, somewhere along the line, because it's not according to our zoning, it's not according to our comp plan, but we seem to be doing these things, i.e. for the benefit of the township. I don't see where it's the benefit of the township when why would somebody want to move here if you don't know what the zoning is going to be, or the land use plan, or the vision of the township? I guess that's my say. I guess that's what I'm going to say. There's something real dramatically wrong somewhere. But what your decision you may make tonight may be against their zoning plan and whatever. And I can only caution you, if somebody decides to take it further, you might not win. Thank you. And by the way, I was here defending you guys today for about 3 hours, and I don't like your smart-ass remark. Thank you.
Mr. Mason, would you like to speak?
Sure.
I'm not Danny Mason. I'm not for or against this project. That's not the point. We voted in zoning, whether it was in 94, I think it was. And one of the reasons we voted in is because we were getting stuck from the county along Colerain Pike, allowing constant businesses right up against residences. That's the same thing. I have experience with that. I live next to an industrial place and a body shop and other things for 35 years. That wasn't 24/7. That was no picnic. I brought things before the zoning commission to make a larger area there, and that doesn't even come close. I'm not against this. I got a pretty good idea what this is for. But you're not considering the people that are going to have to put up with that right behind them. The tire store. Did you ever hear of a tire store? And I really think, I can't say yes or no on a project, but certainly there's got to be some kind of better buffer or something. There's not really enough room for it. I got to agree with that. So that's my take.
We get it. It's gonna. It will pick people up if it's up there. If you can speak normal.
Yeah, let's hear their side of things, where they are with this. Gentlemen, can you come on up?
Steve Dragon with Vandercar, 5027 Madison Road, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Just why don't you give us your you've heard what the residents' concerns are. Why don't you take a little bit of time and address those, specifically as it relates to this abutting a residential area and what types of plans you have to protect the residents who will have to deal with this new development.
In regards to the comments, I would say that the plan does abut residential clearly. I think we've met with staff on several occasions to discuss that issue. We reviewed the Township zoning code, which is well written and specifically addresses a case like this where a B2 zone would abut an R4 zone. It lays out a 40-foot buffer, as was pointed out, I think correctly, where landscaping and screening and buffering will be provided, must be provided under the code. There are a number of options for how that can be done and how it can be best achieved. And we think that those buffering requirements are appropriate, and that's what will be done here in order to protect the residents. And we think we agree with staff that this is an appropriate change, recognizing the character of Springdale Road in that area, the amount of traffic that will continue through this corridor, and the presence of very intense commercial immediately across the street without any effective buffer between the existing residences there. We believe it's not a sustainable successful residential property. We think, and we agree with staff, that the B2 change is appropriate and that the screening and the buffering requirements that are already in the zoning code are adequate and appropriate to address the concerns that have been expressed tonight and in the zoning commission meeting.
And Mr. Mills just left us on, let me see, Thursday was his last day, so I am giving this presentation basically on his behalf. He gave it at the last meeting. We did discuss the transitional nature of this, and there were comments and concerns about the sustainability of the current residential properties on Springdale there. I think we had at least one nuisance property that's not being maintained. The person on the corner tore down their house because they didn't think of it as a viable residential area for the future. So in the minds of some of the people there, I don't know that is going to be a place that is going to be sustainable from a residential standpoint in the future. That being the case, If you have a nuisance property, they're not cutting their grass. You might have, who knows, people hovering in these vacant structures. This small retail strip center, from the standpoint of zoning, would be a good transition to the residential and sustain the residential property values behind that, rather than having, some vacant housing, deteriorated housing that is adjacent to them.
So the proposal, obviously, there's some discussion about automotive service there, correct?
Yes.
Anything else aside that we know of, but that you can disclose?
I mean, the intent is to give an opportunity for some of the existing businesses that would be displaced by the Kroger Marketplace an opportunity to stay in this part of the township where they very much want to stay. So that's the main driving force behind making this available to those businesses. And beyond that, we've had discussions with other retail and service type businesses that have expressed an interest in locating in this location, but it hasn't gone beyond those preliminary discussions at this point.
Am I allowed to ask him a question?
It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, go ahead, Esther.
Esther, why don't you come?
Oh, why don't
Will you come to the mic?
So they can hear you on the TV. Sorry.
Is the whole
Push the mic back.
I'm sorry, there. Okay. Well, you all can hear me. I can talk loud enough.
We've got a new system, and it's really sensitive.
Okay, well, you can hear me. Is the whole purpose of this to move the Goodyear store? Or what is the purpose of making this a strip mall? I mean, is Colerain Township or you trustees needing to find another place for the Goodyear store? Is this part of the package or what we're discussing? I mean, are you working with the Goodyear store?
We have been in discussions with them, obviously, through the entire
Have you found
process.
some other place they can go? Is there other alternatives for them?
There aren't currently any suitable alternatives that
I mean,
that
did
they've
you
been
look for?
satisfied with. We did, yes, we looked.
I mean, it's not the trustees' responsibility to find another place for the Goodyear store. I mean, if they approved the Kroger store, then they're out. Should find their own new location.
Again, that's part of the consideration here. This was, again, another part, an area that we felt was appropriate as a commercial zone, more so than a residential zone, so that's the reason we pursued
I mean,
it.
I have a friend that lives on the back of there. At the moment, she's going to have a fence for Kroger behind her and a fence for this new property. I mean, she is like in tears because she just feels like it's going through and slammed. I mean, I think some other alternatives should be looked for the Goodyear place than just this. I mean, find some other place for them. We don't need a Goodyear store in this area, in that strip. I mean, I've lived here 25 years. I live down behind here at the end of Susanna. I go past this area at least 4 times a day. I don't need another strip mall. There's other ones around here.
Thank you, Esther.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Whitehart?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye. Like you just did.
Yes.
Yes.
I'd like to rebut what he said.
Ship sailed.
Are you going to be respectful? I don't think there was any problem from us. That was out of bounds. Are you going to be respectful?
Well,
Well, then we won't open it back up. Then I'm not going to open it back up. I'm not going to move to open it back up.
well, you're really out of line when you do this. No, you're not out of line.
Mr. Dionne, if you cannot be respectful,
Listen.
please, have him come in and have
You are entirely within your rights to close the public hearing. That's not out of line. It's a legislative process, and the public hearing has been closed.
Okay,
I mean,
well, having said that, then my position on this is that, our staff recommended this.
You could not hear me? I said they were totally within their rights to close the public hearing. They did close the public hearing. That's what I said.
But you can't rebut what he said?
I'm not going to argue with you.
So I don't feel the need to second guess our staff who recommended this. The other thing is, the applicant gave their commitment to adhering to the code and putting adequate buffering in. I think that's a compelling thing for me. And then lastly, I think, going down, if this would be extending beyond Flat Top to the west, that would be a game changer for me, but it's kind of, the development is stopping at Flat Top. You're going to have contiguous development then almost from Flat Top over to Colerain. And so for that reason, I'm inclined to support it.
Yeah, I think we had a good discussion about the effect of the Kroger development with a number of residents that came. And, that's not an easy balance to strike. I think the board did a heck of a job, thought really long and hard about that case. This will have less of an impact on those residents, and I did not hear from any residents about this change. And I think we were pretty open about our procedures, as we have to be by law. It's not an easy decision. It's one that will affect our residents, but that's what we do every meeting. We have to make a decision that balances, the public good with some individuals at times, and I'm inclined to support it. I do hope that our zoning department honors our zoning code and everything that our developer has to work with as far as their obligations to these residents. I think that should be held sacred, but I support the change.
I think that, as the applicant indicated, that this would give us the necessary storefront that's lacking right now for perhaps some of the displaced companies that are being affected by the Kroger marketplace coming in. I think this is a small, very contained neighborhood, and I feel bad that it's getting smaller. But at the same time, we're trying to contain our business section to our business section, and I think that this is just an outgrowth of what the businesses. We're not sticking this up in the corner of the wilderness of Colerain and developing, a completely vacant area. This is in a very heavy business area to start with that just happens at this point to have a neighborhood in it. And I think that this will serve the best interest in the long run and serve a need that we have at the moment. So I'm in favor of it as well.
I'll make a motion to approve the text amendment.
Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Weinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Thank you. The next public hearing is for a text amendment that would streamline the variance process for the Board of Zoning Appeals. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Weinhardt? Aye. Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Thank you. Currently, the process for adopting a decision of the BZA involves the hearing of the appeal, the making of a motion, a straw vote, and 3, the journalization of the resolution. This process seems to be unnecessarily long and slows projects that would otherwise be able to get underway. Following a review of several local planning agencies, it appears that this practice is not a best, or this process is not a best practice. Staff proposed a change that would streamline the process to allow for appellants to have their hearing, and if their appeal is granted, to be issued a zoning certificate the day after the public hearing. So the way they would propose to redo the language in section 3.3.6b would, the board shall act by resolution or motion when 3 members concur. Every decision shall be accompanied by findings of fact based on testimony and evidence and specifying the reason for granting or denying the application. They're just basically taking out the written findings of fact and just say by findings of fact for the purpose of the public hearing. And that will allow us to basically streamline our zoning process for those that are in front of this board. Does anybody wanted to speak?
Well, someone signed
I
in.
will say that I worked with Jeff in coming up with this new process because we thought, and the BZ and the board agreed, we thought this would be a better way to proceed.
There was one person signed in, they're no longer in the room. Is there any, Mr. Mason or the Westfalls, did you want to speak?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Smiley? Aye. Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
I'll move to approve the amendment.
Second.
Sorry, again. Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt? Aye. Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Thank you.
And is there further need to go back to executive session?
Yes, I'd like to proceed back to executive session for the discussion of employment, compensation, and discipline of public employees, pending litigation, and economic development.
Second.
Ms. Reinhardt? Aye. Mr. Ritter?
Aye.